Hi, this is Broadband Academy. Today, this video is we're going to demonstrate fiber test equipment and cleaning equipment. That just is important. So the first item I'm going to talk about is cleaning connectors. Okay, we have a couple different types of cleaning devices. This is an alcohol spray, which is a wet type of cleaning. So what we do is we spray that on here, and it's alcohol based. And you're going to you always clean, test, and clean. So we get that wet, and then in these we just go up and you kind of twist as you go down each one of those to make sure it's cleaned properly. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this end, alright, with a microscope to see how good we did cleaning that. Alright, so you're always going to verify your connection. So I put the ferrule in this test equipment, alright, and we have a little screen here which we're going to show up and see how good the end face looks. You can tell that little dot right there as I focus in there, that is your core. Okay, so the little dot right there is your core. That's where all the infrared light travels down. Okay, so now that's an end face that's clean. What I'm going to do now, Dan, just take a look at my face. I'm going to just touch my face and touch this end connector. Alright? Just like this, and then I'm going to touch this, the end face. Alright? Now let's see what kind of residue comes from that. And I'll focus in, and you can see all the different oils that's on that end face. So if you think just touching your hands or something like that won't contaminate your connector, well, right there, the proof's in the pudding right there. So what we do is we always clean then. We clean the connectors. And when you're done and not using it, we have dust caps, okay, that we put on the connectors when we're done. Alright, so this is the contaminated one. We're going to clean this, and I'm going to move the next piece of cleaner paper up. And there, now it's clean again. This is another type of cleaner. So we open that up, and this one just has two, and you can do a dry or wet type of clean. All right, now our connector is clean, and you can use that to verify any type of issue. So I'm not using this anymore, so I'm going to put the desk covers back on. And I'm not quite sure where my other one went. So we'll just leave that, and I'll look for that later. We'll keep that on that. This is another type of cleaner, which actually you'll clean devices. Okay, so type of a test equipment, you're going to put this in here. All right, and then you just snap it like so, and that cleans the actual connector inside that. Okay, there's a little type of fabric right inside that actually cleans the inside of the test gear. So that's pretty much what the cleaning takes place. This is a visual display inspection scope, and here's another inspection scope which we actually put the connector in and the device, and you can actually look into the scope and actually focus in to see how good you have the connector cleaned. So this is a cheaper version than this one. So both do the same type of verification. The next piece of test gear I'm going to show you is called the VFL, Visual Fault Locator. All right, and this Visual Fault Locator sends actually a red light, because regular light transmitting is actually infrared. Infrared meaning, you know, invisible. So you can see the red light right there. I'm going to put the connector, I already cleaned this connector, in here, and you'll actually see the light being transmitted. Here, this is a pigtail piece of fiber. Alright, we can have a steady light. If I move it over, it'll be a flashing light. Okay, where does this come into play? This comes into play if you have a broken connector or a broken piece of glass in your patch cord. So if you want to see a critical bend angle, you can see that light being actually transmitted outside the actual fiber cable. So this is just one type of a VFL. They come in many different forms. This is another one, a pen type that you could actually put in your pocket. I'll turn it on. Oh, there we go. And you can fluctuate the different lights. That goes like that, steady, so we can put that in as well. So this is another VFL type of light. And they come in multiple different types of power rating, and the power is going to determine how far they can actually go. Okay. Our next piece of equipment here is a light source and power meter. Okay, optical loss test set. All right. So what we have here is this is the actual light source. All right. As you can tell, and on that other one you have a danger. They're lasers. All right. And this thing is set up for two different types of wavelengths, 1310 and 1550. We're using 1310 right now, and we're transmitting this through a launch cable. So there's like probably 450 meters of fiber optics in that. What we have here on the other end is the power meter. So this is actually going to determine how much light is being transmitted and the loss, okay, at the far end. If I unplug this from the source, Dan, just keep it on that, you'll see it change. All right, and it says under. All right, well, if you take a look, this is what I did. I unplugged it from the light source, so there's no light actually being transmitted down there. Okay, so I'll plug it back in, and we get our reading. Now this allows us to check cables, patch cords table, and when we're doing budget loss tests, stuff like that, we can zero this out. So if I zeroed it out, we're at 0. Okay, now we're transmitting, if you haven't caught this, we're transmitting at 1310, and I have this thing set up for, I'll get on 13, oops. I'm just cycling through the wavelengths. It's on right there. 1310. Well, it's on auto, so that's what we're getting. So that's going to just give us a measurement of the actual loss inside this launch cable. One other piece of gear, since I was talking about infrared light, infrared meaning you can't see it. Well, if you're working on a network and you don't know if it's an active network, you have a fiber identifier. Okay, this fiber identifier allows and lets you check to see if you have an active network. So you don't want to take it down it's active, because then you're going to lose service, and if people are transmitting data or whatever it might be, that's a no-no. So this identifier actually will bend the fiber, give us a reading, and say, okay, is this an active link or not? If it's not active, okay, then you can go back and do your checking with your VFL, your power meter, OTDR, and check to see if your connectors are clean and so forth. If you're having a bad signal or poor signal, that's where this comes into play, fiber identifier. The last piece of test gear I'm going to talk about is the OTDR. And this is an AFL OTDR. This has a multitude of different functions. OTDR stands for Optical Time Domain Reflectometer. What that means is, on a non-active link, you will transmit light from the OTDR. It's going to go down till it sees an event. An event could be a mechanical splice, a connector, a fusion splice, a broken fiber, or the far end itself. And this is going to tell you where all these events take place, how much loss is in that network, and give you an actual reading that you can document and record. This piece of equipment also has a VFL in it. And you can see my light. So this has a built-in VFL as well. So besides being an OTDR, it is a VFL as well. And this is just one type of OTDR. that pretty much concludes the test equipment that we're going to cover in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.